r/AskReddit. What's the strangest thing you've ever been caught doing? Oh man. So I must have been about 12. I was in the car with my mom. To set the scene, it was a 3-row soccer mom van and I was in the second row behind the passenger seat with my mom driving. Well, since I was 12 I got my random hormone boner. Strange and awkward enough, right? Well, I decided that I would pretend I was driving and that my boner was the stick shift. Mom caught me arguing with myself. Well, not myself, the actual person just wasn't there. So I was standing in the mirror, with animated facial expressions and gestures, lips moving, but with no sound. I now reserve these hypothetical arguments for the shower, when I am home alone. I was once caught by an ex-girlfriend playing her cat like a banjo. I had both Slushy's front paws in my hand and was strumming on his tummy. The cat was purring so loud it made her come in to see what was going on. It was a long awkward pause followed by "Are you playing my cat?" Edit. This is my most rated comments to date and I honestly couldn't be happier. Also, thanks for the gold, kind stranger. It was 3 AM and 15-year-old me was taking a hit and got a blood nose. Now for context, I get real bad nosebleeds and usually just keep my head up and it goes away. Well, I was bored, so I thought, what if I just keep my head down and let it drip? I know, very stupid. Blood was all over the floor. I had every intent to just clean it up with tissues and flush it. No evidence of my little experiment. What I didn't know was that my mum was actually awake and was waiting for me to finish in the toilet for her turn. I didn't lock the door because it was 3 AM and I didn't think I needed to. Well, she opens the door. "Semen Demon 16, why are you taking so well?" She sees the blood, starts freaking TF out, thinks I'm either dead or dying. I start yelling trying to explain myself. Mum starts crying thinking she's gonna lose her son. My sister walks out her room from the crying and the yelling, sees the blood, freaks TF out as well. After a bit of panic I eventually explained my stupid experiment. I cleaned it up and we all went to bed. But I don't think anybody slept after that traumatic experience. I was playing VR chat with a skeleton skin on and I kept doing stupid dances that may or may not have involved a jerk-off motion. I heard my wife's voice from outside the headset go, "What the duck?" I once dropped a full liter of milk on the kitchen island and it made me give up and just lay down below the milk waterfall that was created and just drink it. This happened at 3 AM and mother witnessed it as she was also awake and thirsty. Edit. I just noticed this can really get out of context. Running in on all fours up the stairs in underwear. Didn't realize my best friend had already come over and I ran into him at ick level. Had a co-worker that was working at a customer site. He had a creepy little crush on one of the women that worked there, but it was apparently innocent enough that no one really cared. Until one day the woman came back from lunch and saw him pick up the cushion from her chair and sniff it. He was asked to leave. I was 14 getting it on with my hand and surround sound headphones. My dad walks in on me half asleep and mumbles, "What are you doing, boy?" and shuts the door. But then comes back in to verify what he's witnessed and has the audacity to say, "You playing with your meat?" Boy, I say, boy, are you playing with your meat? Chock in your chicken, as they say. I say son, lem show you how it's really done. Show you the Olay technique, that is. Sitting on the floor of my kitchen with the lights turned off while making mac and cheese. It doesn't help that the roommate who caught me is the one who would always find me sitting on the floor eating animal crackers or cereal out of the box. In 3rd grade, I went to the bathroom and, thinking I was alone, put my hands against the wall, leaned forward, and let out a long gigantic fart. Afterwards I let out a nice big sigh of relief and pleasure. I turn around that some other kids had come in as I was releasing that massive fart. Did not look them in the eyes as I left. Edit. Just to clarify due to comments, it's not the fart that was strange, no matter how long it may have been. It's the hands against the wall, prepping my body to let it rip, and moaning ooh ooh ung afterwards. I kinda did this. I wear headphones at work and I ran out to my car, and as I was leaning in I ripped a monster ass trumpet. When I got out of the car some lady was walking her dog 2 feet away. I hadn't heard her because of the headphones, but the look of shock was enough. I walked by like I didn't realize she was there. One morning I woke up strangely early, around 5 or 6, without an alarm. I was bored and proceeded to lift up my top mattress and just lay between the bottom and top ones. Mum walked in, extremely confused. I couldn't really explain. I didn't know what I was doing myself. She asked if I needed help. Having an argument with my houseplants about their watering schedules. They had their own voices too. One time my girlfriend and I had just left the house. She then remembered she needed something and went back in. Now, our house, Golders Green, London, was semi-detached with the neighbor's house. The neighbor's motorbike was kind of in our shared front yard. Since I was waiting for my girlfriend, I decided to sit on the motorbike. I heard the front door of the house close behind me, so, trying to be funny for my girlfriend, I leaned over the tank of the motorbike and started pretending to rev the throttle and making vroom motorbike noises, like really getting into it. I didn't hear any laughing, so I turned around and it was actually my neighbor standing there with this WTF look on his face. When I bought my first pair of night vision goggles, I had them delivered to the TV station I worked at, not trusting my neighbors to leave my crap alone. So, I took a break and tried them out in the only truly dark room I could find, the men's room. A coworker came in, flicked on the lights, and was startled to find me in the middle of the room, blinded by the sudden flash of normal light, brushing my teeth in the pitch dark with night vision goggles. I had to go talk to HR about it. He was freaked out. At one time my, then, girlfriend's mom caught me pissing in her kitchen sink when I was bombed out on Ambien. I had no recollection of it the next morning. Walking across the road to the dumpster with a bag of trash, one arm pulled into my hoodie, flapping it like a wing, and slowly moving forward while going in circles, saying to myself flying in circles, realizing that I was not circling in the right direction for the wing I had and reversing to circle opposite-wise, saying flying in circles the wrong way, come back inside and find that my whole family had been watching me. This sounds like something me or my best friend would do. Also thank you for this BC, I laughed and I've been having a really rough week. When I was around 10 years old I was getting curious about sex, so I decided to look it up in the dictionary. Wouldn't you know it, my ultra conservative mother walks in the room, so I try to play it off like I was looking up the heathen Native American tribe. She called me out for being in the S's, but I doubled down and pretended I was possibly dyslexic. What a tangled web I wove. My friends and I did some questionably gay pranks back in the day as pubescent boys. Moon in front of the TV screen. Stuff like that. One day I snuck into my friend's room. He had glass doors to the front yard, and got ready. I got naked and put on a sombrero, and equipped my pecker in the wide end of a vuvuzela, laid in his bed in wait. Few minutes later his mom walks in during a family function. I was mortified. She either didn't notice or just ignored it and walked out. Was I caught? Too afraid to ask. Popping my friend's back by picking him up from behind and bouncing him repeatedly. A teacher walked into the room and we all froze. I once saw an old bloke slowly walk near a tree, have his hat pushed off by one of the low-hanging branches, then proceed to, slowly, pick up the hat, declare I avenge myself in a neutral tone, and then break a twig off the tree before slowly walking off. In college, in lab, was coding to get double linked list to work. When my program worked, I hugged the monitor and kissed it. It's CRT monitor, so yeah, I'm old. Right at that moment janitor guy walks in and sees it all and has this puzzled look. Me, newlywed to my then husband, had to leave our apartment and move in with his somewhat disabled mother. 2 weeks in, he and I are having sexy times in our bedroom. Specifically, he's going downtown and eating at the Y. Mill knocks and immediately opens the door, saying dinner's on the table. Awkward pause. Everyone freezes. His face is buried in my crotch. She stands shocked still, then huffs, and says, well, I see you've already eaten. Slams the door and goes away. We giggle, recoup, and go to eat. Most awkward meal of my life. As a pet sitter, sometimes you get lonely when the majority of your interactions are with animals. So, to combat this I sometimes pretend to be the inner voice of whatever dog I'm walking, responding out loud to whatever they're sniffing or whatever grabs their attention. Each dog has his/her own weird voice as well. More than once people have walked around a corner to hear me doing this. Slapping my belly and listening to sound it made. At least they found it funny. This isn't me, but this story is so weird. My grandma was once caught by a UPS delivery guy in the process of biting her toenails. She was in the sunroom with the screen door open, and the guy walked up to the door and witnessed that. RIP Granny, you weirdo. When I was about 14 I started to cum a lot, and so whenever I jacked off, I had to come up with something that would make it easier for me to cover the tracks, if you know what I'm saying. So I started wrapping my ick with toilet paper. It looked like a mummy, but it did the trick. A mummy ick. So one time, I'm in the zone in my toilet, jacking it, watching some adult content on my PSP, and all of a sudden my mom comes in and hands me the phone. Apparently my friend couldn't find a better time to call me. So 10 years later I still remember the look on my mama's face when she saw me with my PSP in left hand and a mummy ick in the right one. Edit. Thanks for all the upvotes and discussions. Ladies and gents. Had a ton of laugh reading, haha. Why would she just come into the bathroom though? And why wouldn't you have had the door locked? I was called in to assist my wife with putting together a friend's baby shower when her helper bailed at the last minute. My job was to prep the dirty diaper game, which, if you've not heard of it, is played like this. An assortment of name brand candy bars and chocolates are unwrapped and then mushed into a diaper so as to resemble a baby's dirty diaper. The game participants then assess the contents of each dirty diaper and have a guess at what candy bar might be lurking within. Whoever has the most correct answers wins. Now, seeing that I was called in at the last minute, I had to complete the task while at work. So there I was, in my office, 15 or so diapers laying open on my desk, sleeves rolled up, hurriedly rolling what appeared to be a gooey, nutty turd in my hands, when my boss walks in. We make eye contact. He glances at my work, looks at me as though I am dangerously unstable, then slowly steps back out of the office without saying a word. We've never spoken of it. I was in standstill traffic, i.e. car had been turned off, people were loitering outside of their cars, and I had a baby squirrel that I was hand rearing in my car. I fed it some puppy milk formula from a bottle, looked up and realized I had an audience of about 20 people gawking at me. I picked up a pizza, was super excited to eat it, so I put it in the passenger seat and said something along the lines of "I'm gonna take you home and duck you up," hyping myself and the pizza up, of course. I then saw that my window, and the window of the next car was open. A woman watched and heard me talk dirty to a pizza. Another time I accidentally made eye contact with a woman while I was licking my lips after taking a sip of an Arizona tea, and she looked extremely offended by that. That was all in her head though. I'm still in denial.